All right, welcome to our first episode of ERPQuote, and we're going to be chatting today about failed ERP implementations. A lot of businesses take a lot of time selecting their ERP, they map out all their requirements, and they think they have everything figured out. But then it comes to implementation, and if you don't have the right partner that is implementing your business that knows how to configure the ERP, that knows how to work with companies of your size, knows your industry, it can really be a disaster. And it can cost a lot of money and it can cause you paying for an entire another implementation just to clean it up. So, want to turn it over to you, Stephen, just to chat a little bit about what you've seen with failed ERP implementations and why these implementations fail.
Absolutely. And first and foremost, an ERP implementation is absolutely crucial for your business. And if you don't get it done right the first time, it can have devastating consequences. We have a list of examples that we shared in a recent white paper that you should check out at ERPQuote.com. But the first step in this process is always assessing the market of ERP solutions out there and which one would be the best fit for your business after you've had a good process selecting that based on what are the requirements for your business and what ERP meets those needs uh, perfectly, and it has to be perfect. Then you go on to the stage of selecting which partner would be best in actually delivering that implementation and transforming your business onto that new ERP system. So that's what we'll talk a little bit about today, and I'm excited to be here with you.
And almost forgot to kick it off with some intros. So I'll give a little bit about my background. So I went to Boston University, studied economics, and decided that the first career path that I wanted to do was consulting, and ended up working also with Steven at Oracle doing NetSuite implementations. And left that, started a marketing agency, did some career coaching, came back to do more ERP implementations, worked in Deloitte's NetSuite practice, and then joined Ramp.com, which is one of it's really the premier startup for everything expense management, AP, procurement, growing incredibly fast. And work here with Stephen now. We're linking back together. And I joined as our founding member of the solution team. So I have seen countless setups across various ERPs, think Workday Financials, NetSuite, Sage Intacct, and also newer ERPs like Rillet, Campfire, Settle. And let's just say that there's not always the best setup. So excited to chat more about that. But that's a little bit about me, Stephen. If you want to kick things off with a bit of an intro.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Steven. I'm a partner success manager at Ramp, and I'm leading our Train the Trainer program to support enablement of partners to teach accounting firms and system integrators on how to implement Ramp. I was formerly a customer success manager at Ramp, and that's essentially the title that you give to employees at Ramp that lead approximately implemented more than 300 businesses on Ramp. And I've seen all of the ups and downs that are a part of a digital transformation for a business in migrating on from an old process onto a new system. And I performed a similar function at Oracle NetSuite with Gabriel, where I, like him, was a functional consultant leading ERP implementations and have seen it all. And currently, as I'm getting customers implemented on Ramp, I'm also building tons of integrations with all of the top ERP systems out there. Oracle NetSuite, of course, Sage Intacct, and countless others. So that's what I do. I was also a former chief of staff at a early stage AI analytics startup down here in Southern California. And yeah, excited to have this discussion.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Stephen. So I want to take us through really what I believe, and I'm going to ask you to add a couple after we're done. The top five reasons that ERP implementations fail and the mistakes that are typically made. The first mistake in my mind, is inadequate planning and requirements gathering. Talk to me a little bit about how that mistake can affect businesses.
Yeah, really important call out there, and I would agree is that of that being the top reason, number one out of five there is not proper due diligence and collection of business requirements. What you really want to do is have a specific process dedicated to listing out all of the specific requirements that your business would need out of an ERP system. And you don't want to change your business around a software. You want that software to be mapped to your business, customize that software to your exact needs. And those needs are structured in this business requirements document that lists out every possible requirement that your business needs, matching to the oftentimes idiosyncratic accounting processes that businesses utilize. And that would be the North Star document, the map that your partner will then utilize to structure that implementation for you, customizing that system to your specific needs. But it also is a document that can help you in determining which ERP would be the best choice for your business based on what are your requirements and which ERP is most capable in accommodating for those requirements.
I think that's so great, Stephen. And it really takes us right into the second reason why ERP implementations fail, which is underestimating the resources and budget that goes into an implementation. And this can come on both sides. This can come from one, putting a lot on your internal resources who almost always also have their day job. So they're doing this ERP implementation on top of closing the books, on top of doing any financial analysis and reporting and audits that are needed. They still have to do all of that during the implementation, and companies underestimate the internal resources that are required to do this. And then, even when they do go and get external help, your budget for an implementation, and there are different tiers of partners, how much you're willing to pay for that third party firm is going to affect the quality of work. Like these third party firms, they have different level resources too. If your budget is too low, they may staff you all offshore, which can be great if you get the right resources. But a lot of the time, you might want some mix of onshore and offshore resources. And that could cost you more. You might want to go with a firm that really has a lot of experience implementing. So that's some of my thoughts around resources. Jump into the third one. I want to mention something that you talked about, Stephen, which is excessive customization. So I know you mentioned that businesses need to customize. How do you avoid the mistake of excessively customizing and not leveraging enough of the out-of-box functionality while still making an ERP fit your business?
Mhm. Yes, really, really good question. And for that, there's a trade-off that you'll always see in selecting an ERP between what is an out of the box functionality within an ERP and what requires customization. And that customization is ideally what you're selecting that partner to perform and to deliver for your business is actually creating those customizations, given that it is their expertise and they're able to provide that for you. But this is a double-edged sword. And the more customizations that your business requires in that software, the more complicated it becomes, and the more fragile that system could become down the road in the future. So you want to ensure that you have a system that achieves that right balance between out of the box and custom so that it's number one, meeting your business's needs and you're not having to work around your software, but instead that software working towards your favor. But you also want to ensure that this system is built to last and it doesn't require greater customization down the road if anything changes in terms of your process.
I think that's awesome. Talking about our fourth reason right now comes down to insufficient training and change management. Where this comes up a lot is you have your core implementation team that really knows the new ERP. They really know the business processes, but eventually there's usually a broader accounting team and broader business team that is going to need to adopt and use this new system. And if there is not sufficient change management and training for those end users who are going to be in the system, even if all of the setup and configuration and customization, like you mentioned, is correct, we can see we can still see failures there. So that's our fourth reason. And our fifth reason is poor data migration strategy. And this comes up a lot also at Ramp when we see customers migrating ERPs that they don't have a solid data migration strategy and they haven't taken the time to clean up their data. And I do want to know, Stephen, like what are some of the challenges, especially because you're so involved in implementation, that you see around a poor data migration strategy?
Yes, absolutely. That is a crucial step. And oftentimes, data migration is the lengthiest part of that ERP implementation because oftentimes customers are coming to the implementer with that partner with dirty, unstructured data that then has to be cleansed, and then mapped to specific templates that would provide import of the data into your new ERP system. And so ensuring that the business has the available resources to ensure that data is structured is going to make that data migration process so much easier because that, at the end of the day, would fall on the customer to actually structure that data and collect it such that the partner is able to ensure successful migration and import of that data into the new ERP system.
Awesome. That's great. And I again, these five reasons, just to recap, it's inadequate planning and requirements gathering, underestimating your resources and budget, excessive customization, insufficient training and change management, and poor data quality and migration strategy. So by if you want to avoid these five mistakes, Stephen and I are here to help. We recommend that you go to ERPQuote.com and sign up for a free consultation. This is our first episode, but we're looking forward to also breaking down a lot of these ERPs with some of the top partners like Kerr Consulting and Connor Group and Bryant Park Consulting. And we're going to bring you a lot more content on this channel. So thank you for joining today, Stephen, and excited to keep things going here. Anything
Thank
you
you so much, Gabriel.